Let's put an address on the envelope. Let's get this just spicy.
Dude. How's it going, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the James Lab Podcast. Today, our special guests, they've both been on the show before. We've got Jason Washington from Kulture, from Plants Over Pills, and we got Luke Scarmazzo from Profit Brand, author. Great to have you guys on the show. How are you doing today?
Good, man. Good to be here.
Yeah.
Good, especially with my guy. You know, we've both traveled similar roads.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's good to be here, all three of us together.
Yeah, I appreciate you having us, man.
Absolutely. So we got something special to show you guys today. We're doing a GDP episode. You guys both have history with the plant, so I concocted this crazy idea in my mind that I get you guys here to check out the flower, kind of talk about the potential of it, and hear your stories about the GDP from the past.
Nice.
So I guess we'll start off with you, Luke, as far as GDP, your history, because you got me all excited when you came on the show about GDP, and I know a large part of your history with how you became who you were had to do with this plant. So around what year did you see GDP for the first time?
First time I saw her was 2004.
Nice.
Yeah. I used to get packs from a bro of mine up in Mendocino, southern Mendocino, Willits, for people who know the area. And the first time I saw it, they weren't even, I didn't see it at his grow yet. I actually ended up seeing it in the Bay Area at one of the dispensaries.
Third floor.
It was absolutely the third floor.
Yeah.
Over on right behind OCBC.
Yeah.
Yep. And they sporadically had it. It wasn't even a consistent product that was there. And when it came there, it was like something that went really, really fast. Vance and then boys in Hayward over on East 14th used to get it every now and again.
Right.
Back in the day. But the first time I saw it growing was up at Jerry's spot up in Mendocino. Right away, I knew it was something different. Like it was something totally different from anything that I had ever seen in the market. The terpene profile was different. The look of it was different. If the bag, like in a turkey bag, if it was 3 or 4 feet away from you, it didn't look good. It looked like dark, black, ugly weed until you went up close to it and opened that bag up, and those terps hit you like a 2x4 in the face.
Yeah. Loud.
Yeah. And man, it changed my life. From that moment when I saw that particular strain and that particular pheno growing of that Granddaddy, I knew that was something that was going to change the entire industry.
Yeah. So Jason, how did GDP start out with you?
So GDP for me, I was actually home. I was still in college at this time. I was playing football. So, you know, we drug tested and all that stuff, but I was playing football and I was home on a visit. And one of my brothers, who's also in the cannabis industry and been in the cannabis industry as long as I have, actually predated me a little bit. He was like, man, look at this. And I'm just like, you know, I'd been in Montana a ton and seeing the weed up there versus what we had out here. And he was like, man, look at this. This is everywhere. Not everywhere, but this is what's it, right? And I'm like, why it look like that? And then he only had maybe like a small, like a jar, maybe like that size. Like he didn't have much.
Yeah.
And he was like, my buddy Big Mike just grew two plants of this. And he was like, I think this is a future. And I was just like, what's it called? And when he said Granddaddy, I don't know what it was, but something in my mind just like clicked.
Yeah.
And since that moment until now, it's always been my favorite strain and something that to me just is different. It just sits apart from the rest. And I don't know if that's because personally it was like a nostalgia moment, or if it brings back good memories, or if it was like the beginning of a movement as well. And I feel like we saw it so early that, it's like when you found a business, like when you're a founder in the early stages, you're like, yeah, I was a part of that from the beginning. And I just, being from Oakland, it just felt like this was us. Yeah. Like this was just something that we could really stand on and really be about type of thing.
Totally.
And so it just the feelings around the whole experience of Granddaddy and the history and the name and how far it goes back. And I still remember that day. And, it's something that's just synonymous with our foundational fabric.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, my first experience, it was around 2004, and we actually started growing it because I was growing in octagons at my house. And these octagons are these big vertical tier growing systems. It's got 4 tiers. Yep. Each tier has 13 plants, right? So you have 26 plants per light. That's a lot of plants per light. You grow chemdog in it and you get walls of larf, right? It's just terrible. But my buddy's younger brother, or his younger brother-in-law, figured out that if we put GDP in there, you're actually going to be able to get a smaller plant. It's going to be top shelf flower. It was the best thing to happen to octagons since they were invented, right? And so we tried growing several different cultivars in there, and GDP was the only one that really performed to where you could get top shelf flower. We got lots of flower, and I got some interesting stuff. You don't really need to veg. So you go from clone, you'd grow it a couple of days. We were going in these 5-gallon pots, and these were called Dutch pots, right? And so only place in the Bay Area, not even the Bay Area, the only place in California you could get them was the Garden Spout in Willits, owned by Gabby, which I friggin' met Gabby years later. Just recently I figured out my buddy who was going up there, he's the one who introduced me to the Garden Spout, but that was the only place you can get them, and it's owned by Gabby. He's still in the industry today, and those were $5 pots. Well, with the GDP, my buddy, his younger brother-in-law, also figured out that you could use 2-gallon round pots that cost 25 cents, and every day you give them a quarter turn. And what that does is the plant would go this way, but it goes towards the light, so you'd strengthen the stalk on it, right? And so GDP was a big game changer. I mean, I loved smoke, and it was totally unique and totally different. It was dark purple. It was sticky. It checked all the boxes. It was exotic before the modern day exotics even existed. I think what we love about GDP is what people got interested when it came to cherry pie, Girl Scout cookies. All these things kind of, in my opinion, were an evolution of that GDP and the nostalgia around it. Absolutely. In the Bay Area, Oakland and Richmond, it was at one point, it was all they wanted. It was all they talked about. Yeah. It was the biggest thing. It was bigger than anything that we have right now in the Bay.
And that was what set the trend across the country, because now everybody need grapes. They gotta have it, right? So just being from that like foundational moment is really a special time in the history of the plant, in my opinion, because a lot of stuff that we see now is like commercialized, derived hype. Whereas back then, that was organic. It was just different. It was real.
Yeah.
It was just him.
Well, yeah, I mean, grapes, it and the flavor profile was uniquely different. It wasn't like the candy gas of today. It was floral, and it was grapes. It was this grapey, purpley, floral.
Yeah.
Really dark purple, but it had like, you could smoke a whole joint of it from top to bottom. It would taste amazing all the way through.
It would taste amazing on the roach after
the
next
roach is
day.
2 days later.
And I would listen. I would never advocate this, but there would literally like in my car, there would be 10 roaches or something, and I would be like, hit it, no, hit it, no, and then as soon as I hit the GDP roach, it was like, oh yeah, there she is.
Yeah,
that's the one.
And it was like it's literally like that, and like what Jay said too, it was like people had to have it. In our dispensary, when they would walk in, if GDP wasn't on the whiteboard, they would turn around and walk away. Wow. They would not buy, and we would have 10 other great strains up there.
Yeah.
And they would literally look up at the board and turn around and walk away and say something to like the receptionist of, like, let us know when the Granddaddy comes back in.
Yeah.
Right.
It would sell out like that. And specifically, I know Luke can feel this because he was in California. Now, when I got operating in Montana from a dispensary standpoint, the one time we had got a Granddaddy cut from my head cultivator was from San Diego. One time we got a cut, it went across the state like wildfire.
Yeah.
It was just it. And from a medicinal standpoint, from a patient's perspective, because that's how both of us started. We didn't start in this hype shit.
Right.
Good point.
You know, we started from the foundation with the patients.
Yeah.
Granddaddy was very effective from a medicine perspective,
Totally.
right? So you had two arms. You had the medicine perspective from the patients, but then on the other side, you had what now would be categorized as hype.
Yeah.
The streets adopted it. So not only did the medical community really fuck with it, but the streets also really rocked
At the same exact time. It was
At
this
the
perfect
same time.
storm.
Yeah,
And then
it was.
I mean, you really would have to shout out Keek, E40, who, you know, Bay Area rappers really started putting it on too in music and in songs. And that also just made it catapult in popularity and in demand.
And then you know what that did was through the music, through the culture that really fucked with it, is now it gave all the low level hustlers in the Bay a springboard to kick off however they was getting their business around the country, moving, doing whatever they was doing. But it gave them a way to hustle and a platform to hustle, because now they got the grapes. So now they relevant in every New York, down south, Midwest, wherever they was getting their
And it's interesting because it was another Bay thing that I feel like cookies and GDP were Bay cuts.
For
right?
sure.
Bay strains. Even though it might have come from Mendo,
Don't matter.
Santa Cruz, it was, you know, Jimmy
Definitely made famous in the Bay for sure.
Yeah, Jimmy Myers, he was the one selling it to the third floor. Ken also made it famous on some level with Ken's GDP.
I never saw Ken's cut.
Yeah.
From in that, like back in that era.
We just
know,
had
like,
Granddaddy, pre-Ken.
Mine definitely was like the Southern Mendocino Afghan perp version. And perhaps Ken had that cut too. Like I said, I never saw his cut.
He absolutely does now, because the people that gave us the cut that I'm going to share with you guys in a little bit also gave it to Ken.
Nice.
But it's so funny because around the time of GDP when it was popping off, the other popular strains that I remember, and this is post Cat Piss, because Cat Piss was pretty much gone by the time GDP hit.
Yeah.
We had a lot of Cat Piss in the late 90s, right? That was when Cat Piss blew up.
Huge
Mac
in the Valley.
Mac Dre was paying freaking ridiculous amounts. He was actually getting it from my friend Tamara.
Shout out Mac Dre.
Yeah, rest in peace.
Long live.
Yeah, epic times though. But yeah, and so post Cat Piss, we had OG Kushes, Sour Diesels, Chem Dog. There was stuff like Romulan kind of circulating in the Bay.
Yeah.
You know,
Romulan was
that was. It's so funny because like GDP,
it would get a little color too to it.
It would, and it was strong.
Yeah.
It was strong.
Frosty as fuck.
We had to have strong flour back then. It's not like today where a lot of the stuff, GDP in its own right is very strong, right?
Well, because back then we didn't have Instagram and we didn't have any sort of this created hype.
Right.
It was only you asked one of your partners what you smoking, or somebody else at the dispensary what they got last time while you're in line, and they like, man, this was him. And then you like, yep, I believe him.
Right.
I need that. Whereas now it's so much artificially created, hype online that the true authentic feedback does not even come through.
Yeah.
I mean, that's an example with all these toe venoms, right?
Right.
It's 3, 4, 5 different, depending on who you talk to, this the one, that's the one. Back then it was just like, who in line?
Yeah.
Whoever in line next to you, they gonna let you know.
Right.
Like Luke said, at his dispensary.
Yeah.
They walk up, it's not on the menu of the whiteboard that day, they out.
Yeah.
Because they know when I get GDP at Luke's club, it's the one I need.
That's $60 eighth of GDP.
Yep.
Right.
Ours was only 50 actually.
Really?
Yeah.
That's great.
We tried to like really kind of, we're in the Central Valley, so it was a little bit different than the Bay. The Bay was able to charge 60s.
That was premium prices, right? Pretty much
50 was premium for sure.
Yeah,
and that was all the way up. And that's one thing that we didn't say. Those pounds were $4,000.
Yeah.
And even if you went up to buy 20 or 50 of them, you might get a couple $100 off.
Yeah.
But one or 2 points, you might pay 38 or 37 or something. But for the most part, you're paying that all the way up. Yeah. And it was worth it because, like Jay said again, those pounds would go so fast that it would make the dispensary's head spin. You wouldn't even have time to process it. It was that fast.
Yeah, and I mean there was so many middlemen back in the day because there was room for everybody to make money.
Sure.
You know what I mean? It was like there was so much room. It was so different because there was a lot of brokers back in the day. It was before a lot of the farmers, the guys that actually grew the plants, they weren't the ones selling to dispensaries. They worked with a guy, and everybody made money. Everybody got fed, and it wasn't 50 cents or 25 cents on it.
Oh.
Nah, because the guy that the farm worked with, he had to have a guy who would then transport down. So you had the broker is now tied in with the transport. Yeah. Everybody's eating along the way. Whereas now, as crazy as guys from Memphis, Tennessee come go straight up north, and they just direct with the farmer.
Right to the
so
farm.
It's like, wait a minute.
Well, and a lot of the stuff was grown small batch, right?
To the game?
Less than 20 lights. I would say a lot of the GDP that we got was all small batch. The stuff from my friends was less than 20. I had an 8-lighter. You know what I mean? It was stuff was coming out.
If you had 20 lights back in the day, that was big.
Yeah, that was big. 20, it was probably 2 houses. You know what I mean? Like literally.
For sure, you blew out all the rooms too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, literally. Yeah, my buddy had a 30 lighter in a house, and literally every house, including the kitchen, had throw shit in it. Like there was no room. You wanted to sleep there because you got tired from working. You slept on a couch, but there was fucking nutrients and there was fucking trimming shit right there. And,
absolutely, that same couch was the trim.
That's where people trimmed. Exactly.
Oh yeah, jumping the meter. We had meters jumped. I guess I can say it now. You know what I'm saying? But to run that many lights in a residential, we usually would have to jump the meter.
Yeah, especially if you're in Sacramento or over where they have what's the power company over there? Something Mud.
Smud and PG&E. So we had our light system set up to where the lights would only turn on from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. So that when PG&E came in during working hours, they would come with like a pole and it looked like a tennis ball or some shit on the top of it. And they would check like right before your meter, and they would read the electricity coming through and then read your meter, and it had to match. Yeah. So we would never run our lights during those hours because of how much juice we were pulling.
Wow. Yep. Wild times. Wild. Those were the days of In Living Color on DVD. No doubt. So we used to trim watching old episodes of In Living Color, Jim Carrey and everybody else, the Wayans brothers. Wild.
J-Lo.
That was the good old days, man.
Yeah, I mean, that was when people first started getting paid for trimming. Like before that, in the 90s, like our friends didn't charge for trimming. We all grew weed and loved it, and we used to go trim at people's houses for free. And that was like
just to smoke. Yeah,
trim to smoke to keep the scissor
for product.
Yeah, you would get weed, and then most of the time we'd be moving the weed for our friends too. We'd help them trim it, and then they'd let us help sell it.
Yeah,
and it'd be a win for everybody.
And it was all on the honor system.
Yeah,
you take 4 bags, he takes 6. It just was all a handshake. Whereas now, it's not.
Well, and people didn't run off with stuff back in the day either. It was because we were these tight groups. Everybody had their own little kind of tight
because
groups.
It was so secret. It was still, we were still an underground movement back then. You know what I mean? Like we still weren't all overtly out in the public eye. Whereas now, like it's like, you can't kill nobody. You can't do any of this. You can't
you can't go collect your money
because all of a sudden it's just
you try to collect your money and they're taking you to court or to jail.
Back in the day, if you burned like one of the dudes that had the pounds of fire, like you cut yourself off from a rare thing because not everybody had that situation going. So if you cut yourself off from 1 or 2 of them people in the circle,
the plug was gold.
You were dry.
And the word would spread like wildfire. Yeah. And that same thing, it's like dispensaries. You don't pay people. Back in the day, if you didn't pay people, everybody knows each other.
Yeah.
So literally, they're telling, dude, that dude's not paying me. It's been fucking a week's,
Nobody fuck with them.
Yeah, and a lot of the dispensaries that I went to, I liked them because they paid cash. Harborside was the only one that they had their 2 weeks and you get a slip of paper. And I was like, what the fuck is this? So you go to PCC over off Telegraph, it's like fucking cash on the table. No big deal. Everybody's smiling. But things changed drastically, from the early 2000s to where they are today.
Yeah. And in that time period, they say, what do they say? Like the days are long, but the years are short.
Yeah.
And I feel like the years are super short. And with this new Schedule 3 thing and this DEA registration, it's just like, guys, enough. Enough.
Yeah.
I'm ready to bow out, bro.
It's wild, right?
It's crazy, man.
So they want you to admit to breaking the law.
Well, it's like, they want you to admit to breaking the law.
Yeah.
What do you mean
Tell
by
on
that?
yourself.
What you guys mean by that?
So this new DEA, when they moved it to Schedule 3,
right?
You have to register. I don't know if you heard about this 60-day registration for the DEA, right? Well, the questions they ask you are things like, do you sell recreational marijuana?
Currently, they're asking
currently,
that?
yes.
Currently, which is a Schedule 1 drug.
Is a Schedule 1
Sure,
drug
sure.
because the Schedule 3 thing, and correct me, James, if I'm wrong, the Schedule 3 thing is only for medical marijuana.
Yeah.
in a
So-
medical environment, right? So
Mhm.
like you grow the medical stuff and you're selling to a medical dispensary. Now it's a Schedule 3 drug,
Yep. So
right?
then
Or pharmaceutical.
So then I was told this by an attorney is that they want this database of all these people to then cross-reference anybody they have under investigation, maybe from a rat or somewhere else. Somebody in the South says, oh, I get pounds from Luke. Luke owns a dispensary in Oakland.
Yeah.
Okay, now we're going to go after Luke's Oakland dispensary to tie him to this rat to see if, I don't know. I'm not saying that that's what they're doing, but this is what the theory of an attorney.
You see what happens when you go to the fans?
Yeah.
Listen, I'm telling you, this is real. Like you don't trust anything.
Yeah.
You don't trust
Nothing.
anything that's going on with the fans, especially you don't trust the DEA.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, but like as far as like admitting to like a Schedule 1 crime, I would never admit to anything currently. Let me say that. Like, don't ever admit to doing anything currently. As far as like saying like if you ever have done it in the past, there's statute of limitations on everything. So like if you just say, hey, yes, I have before sold a Schedule 1 drug, that could have been 10 years ago. It could have been 20 years ago, which they cannot prosecute you after those times. So hopefully some lawyers can counsel some people on like how to get through all that stuff. I'm not really messing with none of it. As far as like profit is concerned, and on the Schedule 3 situation is like, we're going to wait till stuff like completely shakes out. Make sure that we're staying abreast and aware of all the changes. Hopefully these 280E things come into play, sooner than later, so that a lot of our partners and people that are operating can be able to take off like a lot of the tax write-offs that they need. Yeah. But listen, the government is always really, really not only slow, but inept at being able to create policy around anything really, really new like this. Because what ends up happening is they put people at the table that have nothing to do with the industry, nothing to do with the systems that have already been created, and all of them make the decisions. And then they all throw their hands up and say, oh, why didn't this work? Right. Well, you didn't involve any of the stakeholders. Right. That's why, and that's the crazy shit.
And I'll tell you what I'm really worried about. And James, you know this, and Luke, I don't know if you've been over there yet, but everything in Europe is EU GMP certified.
Right.
So now what is it to stop the federal government from saying, okay, all you operators want to be in cannabis? Fine, no problem. But every facility has to meet a GMP certification. And if it doesn't, it's illegal in our eyes.
Well, I think that's going to happen no matter. My opinion is that will happen no matter what.
Yeah.
You should be setting yourself up for GMP regardless, because I feel like the international export play is huge as a cultivator in California.
Yeah.
California is the highest demanded flower in the world. I guarantee you, every place in the world that you're going to have legal cannabis, they want California flower. So set yourself up for GMP from the beginning when you're building facilities.
Yeah.
Set aside money so you can retrofit your facility if possible. But I definitely think that like GMP is a part of the game no matter where you go.
Yeah, no, for sure. I agree. But I agree, but I also feel bad for the guys who maybe have sunk a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into building facilities who then are these same guys who are selling pounds of weed for $600 and $800 right now.
Sure.
Who won't have the capital to then retrofit these buildings or these facilities in order to participate and stay in the game long term.
Well, some of this stuff I think is by design, but that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah.
The other thing is I think that you will be grandfathered in California. I would hope that they would have some sort of grandfathering in of people that have, legacy operators that have been around, that have been paying their taxes, that have been doing it right, that don't have money to become GMP certified, but still want to operate in the state.
Yeah.
Right. And so
I would hope so.
We would hope.
Me and Luke probably just share this sentiment that we don't trust anything the feds do.
Yeah.
I just don't trust anything they do.
Right.
Because it's just like the application. What's the application for? Yeah. You just want everybody to tell on themselves and put it. And then I don't know.
Well, the more information they have, the more powerful.
Let's keep
information is power.
The government has a thorough track record of fucking up shit.
Yeah. Exactly.
Let's keep it real.
And fucking people over.
Right.
100.
So,
from the beginning.
And the people in the government will admit that.
Yeah.
That's not like, we're not breaking news right now.
Sure. Yeah. And I mean, I think we've had tough times. There's going to be tough times in the future, but all this is in some interesting way. This is all progress towards something that should be full legalization, full decriminalization.
Sure.
Right. And I think these are the baby steps that we've had to go through to get to the point where we're at. Sometimes it's 2 steps forward and 1 step back. Sometimes it's 2 steps back and 1 step forward. But as long as we're making progress and we're not stuck, that's where the hope comes.
Look,
right?
the thing about it, what I see is that no different from the alcohol on your shelf over there, right?
Yeah.
In the 1800s, these were stills.
Yep.
Right? Outlaws. And then now what we have today, it's free. It's free trade. It's accepted everywhere. And so guys like us will be dead and gone, and then the weed will just be what alcohol is today. I mean,
Corporatized.
yeah,
Totally.
just
commoditized, turned into, yeah. I
They're
mean,
definitely waiting on the sideline,
yeah.
Yeah,
And so,
I mean,
and in some cases already involved.
for sure. But I mean, that's with everything though. That's with music, with everything.
What's the
Everything
natural
out there,
progression of capitalism?
That's the
Yeah.
natural progression of capitalism. That's it. And it's like, I'm looking at places like South America to operate, to be able to do stuff internationally, because you look at Nike, they're not making Nike shoes in Portland
no.
for a reason, right?
No.
And so why not go to where labor's cheap, where electricity's
Yep.
cheap, and have stuff produced? I'm a seed producer.
Sure.
I want to produce end products too, like joints, like I'm going to show you guys in a little bit.
Yep.
But I mean, I think we went off track with the Granddaddy Purple conversation. But I feel like
Yeah, let's
I
bring
feel
it back
like
to Granddad.
we need to go back to Granddaddy, but I
Sorry,
feel
girl.
like this was important stuff, right?
Yeah.
So I think this is just as important
Sure.
as the conversation about Granddaddy, because this is the future of Granddaddy. Where's it going in the
True.
future? Are they
Right.
just going to totally water it down and it's going to suck? Are we going to have good Granddaddy in the future? I mean, I think for a long time, I thought it was lost. I talk about it with Ray
Broke
Bauma
my
on
heart.
the podcast. I
Mhm.
thought that Granddaddy's gone. Nobody wants it. Capis is gone.
Mhm.
But finding things like Granddaddy, which we got recently from some friends, we got the cut. We grew it out. We're going to launch it with our friends in California Metric and see where it goes. I'm showing it to you guys today because I feel like you guys have history with the plant. You know the nose, and the nose knows.
Mm-hmm.
And
Nose don't lie.
the potential for GDP is so huge for the real GDP, right?
Right.
For the other GDPs out there, I don't know, but I think if you have that terp profile and the effect, to me, that's the most important part. So we got one jar over here, one jar here.
Definitely got that nose.
Yeah, that nose there for sure.
Especially
That's
when you have it
100%.
locked up and then you open it, it's like,
Yeah.
man, it pops, right? And it's an unmistakable nose because it's slightly floral, it's almost jammy. It has like a jamminess to it.
It's like sweet, perfumey, floral. It's all of those things before any of those things were even labeled.
Yeah, and it has a nose burn to it, right? It's like one of those things that on top of it, it has like a little bit of a nostril flare when you breathe in. If you squeeze the nugs, you get that aroma. And it's funny because a lot of the stuff today that would look similar to this, the purples that are out there, they're not going to pack a punch.
No.
They're not going to get you where you want to be, especially for medical. If we talk about the effects, it had that couch lock effect. It had that,
Super couch love.
Yep.
yeah, that almost narcotic effect to where like if you had pain, it was great for pain. If you have aches and pains, if you need sleep, it's one that will put you to sleep.
For
You smoke
sure.
enough of it, you're tired.
Yep.
And it'll give you the munchies like no other thing that I've ever
I
smoked.
couldn't stay up past like 9 or 10 o'clock
Yeah.
when I was on Granddaddy all day. 9 or 10 o'clock, it was over with. It didn't matter where I was at. I could have been in my mom's driveway.
Done.
Yeah.
Done.
I
No,
feel ya.
this is, so I've seen probably, I would say 4 Granddaddies that people have shown me. And this one for sure has by far the nose of Granddaddy. The other ones weren't even really close that I've seen so far. So like, you know me, like when I got out, I was heartbroken when I found out like Granddaddy wasn't around, like readily available. I was like, yo, how did we fuck this up?
Yeah.
How did we like lose one of the greatest strains that have ever been in existence in our whole industry? And like I made it like a mission to be able to like find the Granddaddy, not only find it, but be able to like produce it and have it like look the way she used to.
Yeah.
I would say the look on this isn't totally there. the nose is all the way there for sure.
Yep. And I think part of that is HPS.
This is LED grown?
That's LED grown, and
Right.
LED with under canopy with high PPFD, which we did not do back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to experiment. I'm working with SF Canna, their head cultivator, growing it, and he's actually putting it in a testing. Yeah, for sure. It's going in a testing environment. We're going to grow it with HPS, LED. We're going to try different nutrients. He's going with 3-part. He busted out the GH
old 3-part, huh? The old
why
GH.
Not? Why not? Let's look at what we were doing years ago.
How we used to feed it.
And go back towards those things, because we have photos of GDP, so we know what GDP used to look like.
I have a 3-part recipe for GDP that's fire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, hand it over.
It's a 246, and it's
Yeah, I mean, and all those things are valuable because we know that HPS lights are what we all used to use, right?
Yeah.
So we know the light. We used to use Ocean Forest, so we're going to try some with Ocean Forest.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to test it out and figure if we can get the terp profile back to where it needs to be, because I'm not super thrilled with the color of this, but what I am thrilled with is the nose, right?
Yeah.
The nose doesn't lie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And especially with GDP, it has such a distinct nose,
It does.
right? And then when you smoke it, it's also another one where like you can tell when you smoke it, when we fire it up, you're going to say that's GDP.
Yeah.
It's unmistakable. And I was so blown away when we got it grown here where it wasn't what I was necessarily looking for quality wise. Like it was grown a very, very poor quality, right? Where I think it was maybe a 6 out of 10 with the potential to be better. I knew it had the right nose, and now I feel like we're one step closer to getting it. This, as far as like in a roll pros joint, I think is going to be amazing. But as far as like, it's not ready to be released as a flower quite yet. And we're going to try, we got joints here.
Okay.
We got joints. I know, Luke, you can't smoke, but
putting the plant back into the original environment with the original recipes.
yeah.
Under the original lights that we had, there were no LEDs. I think that's gonna change it tremendously.
Yeah, and
think it's
maybe
gonna
not
move
pushing
it-
them so
move the
hard.
needle.
There's a bunch of stuff. Like the under canopies is great. The environmentals, the plants were more stressed out. But GDP gets dark on its own, right? Like it should get really, really dark. And this, when we're using that much PPFD, is going to prevent it possibly from getting the color that we're looking for. Because the shade was some of the darkest stuff out there. There was the Blackberry Kush was also black too.
Yeah.
But that was like Pretendica. They used to call that stuff Pretendica because like you would smoke it, and right next to GDP, it's like they're both purple, but the Blackberry
even
Kush could
close.
get
The
you high.
Black Kush was like
Not
some
even
of this
close.
new candy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
worse.
No, it was.
I feel like it's worse. I would smoke it, and I'd be like, "So is it like creeper weed?
Yeah,
What's going on?" And it never creeper weed that never creeps.
Yeah.
Creeper weed that you're still waiting for.
Yeah,
waiting for
but I mean, I love these joints. These are the Roll Pros. We actually have the world's best. We got the world's best stickers on these now.
perfect.
And so I got one of those for each of you guys. You guys can sample them out. And I'm super excited about the potential for this, knowing what we know in our history with this plant.
You
And
can't give me no childproof shit.
you got to
man.
push down and twist.
There we go. All right. See, I swear I was going to get it.
Yeah. and
We
so
went through 9 takes right there, just so you
Are
guys
these-
know. Before
These are the new.
These are the new with the tipper stickers.
yeah,
So like
yeah.
literally we've got the crutch stickers. So it's a perfect joint. In my opinion, a 1 gram joint, you're going to get a better experience than trying to roll it yourself. For the most part, I would say 99% of the people out there don't roll joints this good. There's 1% of those guys, the connoisseur guys, that roll amazing joints. This we test the
I think
pressure.
we're sitting at a table with a few of them right here that could probably roll like this. But no, this is
Yeah.
the cylinder is definitely the future. The cones I think are starting to phase out. Some people like the cones, but I feel like the cylinder definitely is a better experience for the smoke and like airflow and all those things. And it just feels better to you, right? Like
It does. It feels a little more natural. Huh?
right. It feels
Yeah.
natural. It feels better to smoke like this. The cone has never really felt great when I hit them, even when it's great flower in it.
Right. I agree fully. So SF Canada, they've really worked hard on perfecting the airflow, everything from the airflow to the flower, like the humidity in the flower. So the moisture content in there, hitting that 10 to 12%.
Perfect.
Water activity, he's looking at every last little detail, and then the grind. So we went through several
That's super important.
Yeah.
The grind is so
Super
important with something like this.
He was explaining it to me just when I was there observing how the whole operation worked. Just the smallest detail. Yes, sir. Just the smallest change in the grind completely changed it. And with the airflow on this, these are better than the first round samples that you gave me, I feel like.
Right.
They're not as tight.
Yeah. They've gotten better.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and it's all cultivar dependent. So some of these things, if you put cookies in there, cookies is going to be real tight. It's going to be a smaller tip. So depending on the tip size, that can affect airflow as well. So like a 1 gram GDP is going to be a bit thicker, right? Because you have a bigger mill tip than something like cookies, right? Cookies is a denser flour. It's like rock bud compared to this stuff. And, and then you get everything in between. So somewhere between 8 mil and 10 mil is where the magic happens. And there's like an 8, an 8.5, a 9, and 9.5, and a 10. So if you want a 1 gram, depending on the tissue type, you have to then match that to the tip size, right? And they have a crusher that crushes the flour and goes, okay, well, with the tech they have, you literally crush the flour, you grind the flour, you crush it, and then it tells you what tip size to use.
Wow.
Right. And so it's that precise, and so that you get the right amount of airflow, and then it's checked, and you can roll them tighter or looser. There's so many features that you can modify to give you a better experience.
It's funny. So when Zach gave me all those different, because we went through like a bunch of, because for my flower brand, went through a bunch of different samples. And there were the feedback was the one that the ladies really liked.
Yeah.
They were tighter, skinnier, and a little longer.
Yeah.
And those were the ones.
Virginia Slim style.
Yeah, exactly.
Girls like those Virginia Slims.
Yeah.
There's something, and it's probably psychological. They remember from when because most of them don't even smoke cigarettes anymore. I feel like a lot of the girls I know that used to smoke, they don't smoke anymore.
Right.
Or they look like they're 60 by the time. One of the two. No hate there. But man, it's funny how cigarettes and alcohol can age you.
Mm-hmm. Oh my God.
For sure.
So yeah, I've actually weaned myself off alcohol over the last year and a half since my wife got cancer, because she can't drink now. I don't like drinking, and now somehow I don't even drink at all, which is good. Yeah. It's good for my health.
I'm weaning myself off too, just so you guys know.
Totally. It's only clear, tequila, right?
That. No carbs for my health. When
I'm on vacation and stuff, I like drinking for sure. Like I'll have a drink.
I mean, in moderation, it's always cool, but the problem is like sometimes we don't do it in moderation, right?
Yeah.
And that's the thing with, I guess, all of our vices.
I've unfortunately never been a moderation sort of guy. I'm all or nothing. I'm like all in, it's like, it's been like that with work. It's been like that with partying. It's been like that with weed and everything else that I've done throughout my life. Psychedelics. That was what I started with. I was all in from the beginning with psychedelics.
Well, yeah, man, we had some bad runs when we were younger with the LSD and the mushrooms. Shit, I ended up in the ER one time on mushrooms.
From mushrooms?
Yeah.
Because you couldn't
ate too many.
Yeah. Oh wow.
Me and my bro split a quarter, and I was we were sitting in front of like a koi pond, and everything just started swirling together, all the colors and everything. I couldn't even focus on anything. And it was all bad, man. I ended up going, it's so funny, the story. I can't believe I'm telling this on the air.
Yeah.
I ended up going to my house. I'm like 15 at the time. So my mom and dad are on the couch. They're watching TV. I try to run past them and go into the room to just go kind of I'm going to go to my room and kind of hang out in there. I go into the room and I come up with this idea that I'm going to act like I'm going to sleep. So I shut off all the lights, sit in there off an eighth of mushrooms, and cave paintings start floating in by my face. And I'm looking at all these crazy visuals. And then for some reason in my head, I said to myself, what if I ate poisonous mushrooms? And I swear, as soon as I said the thought in my head, my stomach started hurting.
Oh, you don't want to do that.
I know, it was the worst thing I could have did. Now I know, but this is one of my early experiences as a kid. So what I do, I go in and I tell my mom, who's now in bed, I go, hey mom, I wake her up. My mom's like a hippie, you know what I'm saying? She was at Woodstock and all that shit. So it wasn't a crazy thing to say, but I go in there, I wake her up and I say, hey mom. She's like, what? And I said, I think I ate poisonous mushrooms. And she goes, what? I go, yeah. And she goes, well, you got to throw up or something. I was like, yeah, I can't throw up. She was like, well, I'm going to take you to the ER. I go to the ER. I'm sitting in the ER for like 2 hours. It's a Saturday night.
Thinking you're
full.
dying. Thinking you're
full.
dying.
And then it just goes away. It goes away while I'm waiting in the ER. And I like look at her and my friend who's with me. And I'm like, what are we doing here? Let's go. And they're like, you sure? I'm like, yeah, let's fucking go. Let's get out of here.
Adrenaline.
And I just left and it was cool. The rest of the night was fine.
Wow.
Yeah. It was
You just got past that point.
Yeah, it was past that like peaking point where like I literally couldn't focus on anything. Like if I was looking at this sign and this wall, like everything would just swirl together.
Right.
And it was too much for my young 15-year-old mind to be able to push through on that situation.
You got to have trip buddies.
Yeah, exactly. And I had one with me, but he was worse though. He was just making it worse. Like he was like, talking crazy about crazy things. And like, yeah, it wasn't going good.
Yeah, I liked I liked acid, I liked mushrooms, I liked all the psychedelics, pretty much anything I could get my hands on psychedelic wise. But I basically took acid 10 times before I smoked weed. And so that was my gateway to drug to everything else was the acid. Because I was like, if this little piece of paper.
LSD is the real gateway drug, just so you guys know, it has nothing to do with weed.
For sure. Yeah, it's interesting though. And it's like coming off that, it's like that's the most intense stuff. So like everything else is like
was mellow to you.
Yeah,
you're
I was
like,
like,
what's this weed
that's
shit?
nothing. I used to eat a 10 strip of acid, and it's like, well, and especially weed. It's like until you eat weed for the first time.
What were you on? The Pink Suns? You remember the Pink Suns?
We had Bart Simpson's.
Flying pyramids.
We had pyramids. We had microdots. We had
then the white blotter stuff.
Oh yeah, we definitely had 4-way window panes.
Ooh, wow.
We had liquid. You
guys are Bay
Area.
This is where we came.
This is where the fucking acid came from.
For sure.
Right?
This is where the books were.
There was so much. There's always options, right? But yeah, I don't know how we got on that tangent. But back to GDP.
Right. See what it does to you?
Yeah, I mean, it's the GDP. I think it's cool. It's strong. It's got good effect.
Yes, it's creeping up.
Yeah. It's definitely one of those ones that it has a little bit slower of an onset. Mm-hmm. And then once it hits, it's good. So, and I've been smoking it now for 4 days, that and the toad. And I actually prefer the effect of this over the toad venom. Okay. Yeah, we'll have to smoke some toad venom next.
Yeah.
But literally, I prefer the effect over this. I think it's longer. The toad venom at first, I was like, man, this is fucking amazing. It's really strong. Right. And we have the two different ones. And one of them, I think, tastes better than the other one. But the one that's not is tasty definitely like chokes you up more. Like I feel like it's that expando weed where you take a hit and you blow out more smoke than you took in. Where like at the end you're like blowing out or coughing. It seems to make everyone cough, but it's not that it's grown improperly or anything. It's just strong weed. Okay. But it reminds me of green crack. We used to have green crack back in the day.
And bring back the green crack, man, along with that AK-47. I need those in the jars, man.
The green crack never really did it for me because I would grow it and I would have to trade for other stuff so that because my tolerance would build so high to it. It would get me high initially, but the high would only last 15, 20 minutes and I wouldn't be high anymore. And so I grew Blue Dream at the same time and I ended up probably smoking way more Blue Dream, even though it's not very strong, because my tolerance to green crack would just build up so quickly. So literally it was like strong in the beginning. And then I'd have friends over, I'd roll up these big fat joints. And I'd be smoking on it. They'd be like, damn, dude, this is so strong. Why do you roll up such big joints? And it's like, it's not affecting me like it's affecting you.
Right.
One of my friends, we were at the Giants parade in 2010. I'd grown this amazing green crack. Okay. And it was the Giants parade after they won the World Series. And we were out in front of the library in front of San Francisco. And we were smoking, puffing on it. I'm smoking heavy because it's my weed and I've been smoking for a while. This is his first time smoking green crack. He takes like 4 or 5 hits and he's like, I need to sit down. I'm like, dude, can't sit down, right? Everyone else is standing up. We got this crowd of people.
Take the spot.
And homeboy decides to just sit down right on the ground. And I'm like, there's people pushing and it was wild. But that's how strong green crack is. And I feel like toad venom can kind of do something similar. But there's a lot of hype around it. I kind of prefer Animal Face more. It's not as sweet, but it has that bready, cakey earthiness.
Are you saying toad venom more hype than heat?
I think done right, it's really, really amazing. But I also think there's a lot of hype around it. So should it be at the level?
That was a very good politician answer right there.
Yeah,
John.
but it's like 100%. But I feel like should it be at the level that it's at? I think it does have qualities that deserve it to be put up there. I think the look of it, the bag appeal, the stickiness when it's done right. If the right cut is sticky, it leaves an oil ring. You get chalky white ash. So if you want those, I think the guys from Proper Doinks, they love that stuff. As far as a joint fucking weed, like joint weed that burns like that smokes like that, connoisseur weed, it checks all those boxes, right? As far as effect, I think it's strong. Is it as strong as some of the other stuff? I think it's what I like about it is that it's going in a different direction in the potential for stronger than these candies, which it is, right? And so it's a sign of something good coming, right? So if we can go back to this, that means we can go back to good OG, which is very hard to grow as well. But I'm seeing more and more and more OG every day.
I'm feeling the OGs right now, man.
Yep.
I really am. It's like, it just taking me back to like the original gassy smoke that like made me start loving weed, like early. This is before the Granddaddies and all that stuff.
Right.
We had a cut in the Valley of OG, I want to say in the late 90s, 98, 99. That was fire.
So gassy too.
Man, all it was gas. There was no candy, no fruit flavor at all to it.
No. So for me, OG has 4 things and all in different ratios when we talk about OG. And I was talking about this on my breeding class earlier today with Oaksterdam, but it has gas, like that nose burning gas at some level. It has earth, it has pine, and it has citrus, right? So those things make the OGs that I know OGs, right? And some of them have no gas, they're only earth, right? Or very little gas. They still, when you crack them, it should burn your nostrils a tiny little bit, right? And some of them are extremely earthy. That Pure Kush is like the earthiest, and there's not a lot of pine in it. But there is a little pine on the breaks. The good original OG had pine in it. SFV had pine, but overly piney isn't. Like some of the guys like I know in LA, they don't like the piney stuff. The SFVs, and SFV was known for that pine. Yeah. And I love pine needles. There's something like pine needles. I'll eat the baby pine needles off a redwood tree. You eat the fresh needles, and it tastes just like OG Kush.
That's right. Yeah, it's the bud structure too, man. It's clusters on top of clusters, it's like
these little pine cones. Yeah.
Right. And it's like, you can tell right off the rip, right from the jar of whether like that's a real OG cut or not.
Yeah.
But what's crazy is that those OGs in with these candies right now,
yeah,
they don't even get it. They're like, this tastes good, but it don't make me hot. Don't buy it. Like, they don't even, I don't know. And maybe it's like from the bud tender level down, there's just no education or experience with some of the older strains and whatever. And so
I think a lot of them have never seen them.
Yeah,
I think they just never, so they don't know what nose burning weed is.
Yeah.
Most people don't even know what real sour is, right? And I think
definitely not.
Well, and then GDP is just another one, right? There's a lot of people that never really got to try the GDP that we got, or if they got it, they got this inferior version of it. Right. To where it's like their idea now of GDP is like, oh, it's mids, right? Yeah, or it's this, or it's like runts, or it's like, and not that there's anything wrong with runts. Runts is great, but they compare it to something else that it's not.
Well, and I'll tell you a big telltale is going to be, as you know, and I know Luke and I both probably fight this, is from a bud tender standpoint is where's this going to test, right?
Right.
So because if
that was one of the main
old
drawbacks.
GDP
wasn't
would
a high
be
tester.
16s, 17s.
Well, now watch this test at 30.
If I put this out at 16
You're
or
dead.
No one will buy it.
I couldn't even give it away.
Right.
You can call it whatever you want. It don't matter.
Don't matter.
Well, and I think that's the beauty of the LEDs, the blessing and the curse, right? With the LEDs, you can push those numbers higher, I feel. But now what are we sacrificing for higher numbers? And that's just a universal question with everything. It's like Skittles doesn't test super, super high, right? It tests in the 20s. But would I get rid of it, because it tests low? Do we really need everything to test that high? I don't think so, but I think it's an educational thing that's a kind of a problem right now.
It is, yeah.
And something that I feel like with brand trust, you guys have brands in California that are both doing really well. And I think over the next couple of years, you're going to develop enough brand trust to where you'll be able to release anything because they know what you're out. They've been buying your brand for years, right? 5 years from now, or not even 5 years, 3 years from now, because you guys have been around a little while.
Sure.
You develop this brand trust to where you release something new. All the other things you've released new up to that point have been hitters, right? And so they're like, fuck yeah, they got something new. I'm going to buy it. They don't need to know even what it is. They eventually won't even need to see the flower. As long as you're providing good quality stuff, joints, they'll buy your pre-rolls if they know what your brand stands behind.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I agree with that to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Because it's like right now when we drop like 2 to 3 strains every month, new strains.
Yeah.
And we have enough, like you said, brand trust and credibility to where I don't think a lot of people even look at the batch label to see whether or not whatever the THC percentage is or terpene percentage or whatever, even though we list THC and terpenes and all that stuff on it.
Right.
The way the dispensary has been trained to market the cannabis is where believe the main flaw is, because the customer isn't even getting past the facade, the sign that says, like our new, we have a strain called Cherry Paloma that just dropped. Okay, Cherry Paloma. Underneath it, just as big as the name of the strain and our logo, is the THC percentage.
Yep.
It's literally that big. It's as big as the logo. It's as big as the sign. So when a customer is trained to say, well, hell, the THC percentage is as important as the brand and as important as the strain name, we're always going to run into a problem where now the brand is fighting this uphill battle to re-educate them and say, hey, we're like kind of disregard the way that it's being sold to you and listen to me, even though it's not what you're seeing.
Yeah.
It's a difficult situation.
Absolutely.
It is, but I mean, I think these things change over time with educated markets. And then once these guys with lower THC percentage flower, they start winning cups, they start winning events, then it's like, okay, well, look at what's winning. Look at what's dominating, and terps are going to dominate because I feel
do
like
the awards really mean that much?
But
they don't, but they are. But I still
maybe
feel
not
like,
all the time.
But maybe
not
even
in
the
all
hype
cases,
behind it.
but-
Well, even if they're, I mean, basically, if we do have those things winning awards,
But let me give you the grand overall picture.
Yeah.
The reason, so if we started the dispensary level and build back up, right?
Mhm.
They have to, well, let me back up. If we as brand owners were still buying this for $4,000 a pound, $3,800 a pound, then the price to retail would still be a number where everybody makes money. Therefore, you could afford to pay bud tenders more. So you'd get people who were actually interested in cannabis and not just younger kids, with all due respect, who just think weed is cool and they can own, this is the only entry level job they can get is bud tending, because, and then the dispensaries who can't afford to pay the bud tenders any more than $1 more than minimum wage or whatever it is that they make. My point is that with the $600 and $800 pounds that are in the market right now, that trickle up to retail, where the margins are so small and nobody's making money, then how do you attract a more quality, how do you deliver more of a quality experience at retail versus this, oh, you should buy this because it's 59%.
I just want to get you out the door.
Yeah.
And
they just want to turn another,
turn and burn.
Yeah. So then it's easy. If you're turning and burning, you're going to think, oh, 50% THC weed. Yep. That's the one I need.
That's what I want.
Yep. The highest is what I want.
Right.
That's
but
what
we don't drink 151 when we go to the bars.
No.
So that's because we have an educated market. So yeah, I mean, totally all this stuff trickles down from,
it does.
And we did this to ourselves.
That's what I was just going to say, though. We kind of did this to ourselves, though, in this situation. So it is on us to fix it, and to a certain extent.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit more about GDP, and what do you guys think about the potential for this making a comeback if you had good flower? What do you guys see the life of GDP, like the rebirth of it, and then getting in the market? Because there's a couple companies I believe that have GDP. I'm not sure which ones have the real one. This is the only one that I've seen that I can authenticate from my nose that reminds me of the one that I had.
And I know Luke and them do this a lot, but for me, like we were talking about when we first walked in, having this available to all the Kulture brands would almost reignite some nostalgic fire within myself, the team, because man, it's like when everything is the same and it's stagnant and it's hype, like that's not cool. It's not real. It's not authentic. And we are authentic humans. All the fake shit you see online, the this, the that, it only lasts for so long. Yeah. And I think on certain levels, people are getting tired of trying to maybe keep up with the Joneses.
Yeah.
And if you can deliver something that's from a reliable brand and you can deliver an experience that they remember, I think you could really get behind it. But that's not to say that is not going to take some work, and through our demos and things like that when we drop. Sure. I know we always try to put it out there. But it's, I'm excited. I'd like to see more of the old school strains back.
Totally.
I had a concept, whereas I was like, could we just build a business strictly off 4 or 5 of the old school, what we know as old school strains?
If they were grown 10 out of 10, I think so.
Yeah.
It'd be
but
hard.
I think you would have to have them 10 out of 10.
It depends, and it depends where you're talking about, where you're inserting yourself in the market. Like, are you inserting yourself at the genetics cultivation part of it,
right,
or actually going to the customer in the retail side?
Well,
and if you're going to the customer on the retail side, I would say it doesn't matter what the 4 strains are; they eventually burn out on them. And that's what it does suck. It does suck that that's true, but it's just.
Well, it's like Trainwreck. Trainwreck would be okay for a second, and then people would get burnt out on it. I think I like Trainwreck in its own right. Like real Arcata Trainwreck was stuff that would wreck your life.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that was one of the first rooms I grew. It was half of the room was Trainwreck, half of it was G13, and it grew itself. It was back then. It was a yielder. It did all the great things. I'm going to tell you the number one concern that I'll have with this coming back to the market, which would be like, again, what Jay said, as far as like the uphill battle that we would have to the customer is the bud tender now is from 21 to 30 years old. Yeah. They have no idea what Granddaddy is. They maybe have heard the name before. They have no idea what the terpene profile used to be. The purple means nothing to them anymore because everything is purple.
Everything's purple.
So, and which is a testament to Granddaddy. The reason that everything is purple is because the Granddaddy changed the market. It changed the way we bought weed. Literally, one strain changed the way we bought weed from that point forward.
Yeah.
If you can get past that part, which I think you could, if it really was her and it was grown to like if we brought back the original girl,
get the experience, right?
It would be the experience. You would get all those things. It would be so different from everything in the market that it would again make such a huge impact. Yeah. Then, if it has potential, like to wash and even have BHO and like then we can do pens and we could do rosin dabs and all that. So like the potential for this to make a real impact in the market would be infinite, but it would have to be her. And then you would have to do the real hard work of educating a customer base and a retail base that really doesn't have any grasp or idea of what you have or what you're trying to do.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, it's different now because we used to have the deli style. Everybody had deli style where you have you'd have the chopsticks or tongs and they'd pull the bud out. You weigh it on a scale.
They would know if you were lying. They would know if you said, hey, this is good and it really wasn't.
Yeah, if this batch, they're like, it's good batch. And it's like, but you could see it is, right? You could see it. You can smell in there. Now they've taken all that away.
They have to trust you.
Well, and here the additional problem too is the moment a customer has a bad experience with somebody renaming something else that's not the real Granddaddy, just because let's say the Granddaddy's back and it's popping.
Yeah. And then you got an LCG that comes out. That's Granddaddy.
Granddaddy.
Well, I mean, I'm not naming any names, but there is a Granddaddy purple that's on the market that is like the worst tasting pre-roll that I've ever had. It was like floor scrapings.
Let's put an address on the envelope. Let's get this shit spicy.
Dude, I can't. Well, it's funny because like I've done that where a handful of times where I want to try something like nostalgic and I'm like, ooh, I look at that. And then I'm like, I can't tell what this is. I can't tell whether it's LCG or whatever. It's like they used trim to make their joints and trim just tastes terrible. Like no matter what it is.
I have a very unique perspective on Granddaddy than most people in the sense that I went through a time warp. Like my life stopped at 2008.
Yeah.
I didn't see the progression of all these other strains and be able to smoke all these other strains and then like kind of forget how like the original Granddaddy smoked because you've experienced so many other things. At 2008, I didn't experience anything. I came back out and now I have a vivid memory of what she's supposed to look like, what she's supposed to smell like, what she's supposed to smoke like, all of those boxes, you know? And to this day, like I'm have yet to see that one that was back in 2006, 2007, 2008.
So you missed the disappearance of GDP when it disappeared.
Oh yeah.
Completely. You were gone. You were locked up.
Gone.
Right. And so I remember this vividly. It was like GDP was so hot. It was at its peak. And within one season, nobody wanted it. You couldn't sell purple to save your life. And there wasn't just GDP at that time. There was the purple Cadillac. There was the Mendo Perps. There was the purple Kush. There was 7 or 10 different like that were common in the Bay Area. Literally, purple Urkel is another one, and then Grape Ape.
Yep,
and so we had all these purples.
God's Gift.
God's Gift. God's Gift was like purple, but like that was a good one. And there was a strain called Midnight that they sold at PCC.
You don't remember the purple monkey balls?
There you go. That was a good one. So Midnight at PCC was GDP times OG, and it was purple. It was so fire, but it was like from one season to the next, it was gone. Completely gone. The GDP was nowhere to be seen. You could find it in pockets of Oakland and Richmond a little bit. Here and there, you would hear like, oh yeah, that dude's got it over there. My buddy that lived in Richmond was like, yeah, I saw some yesterday, bro. It was fucking fire. You don't even see that shit anymore. And then it was gone. And all of a sudden, a couple of years later, Girl Scout pops up as the heat. Right in the Bay. And Girl Scout, when that took over, it was like, that's all people wanted to talk about was cookies. Cookies.
What was that, 2010?
Started in 2010, 2011 started getting really fucking popular. Right. 2012, it was the one. And there was, there at that time, there was a bunch of different Girl Scout cuts popping off. The Thin Mint had hit the market. That was like more of the spears. The original Girl Scout was like the smaller buds that didn't yield. Some people call it the forum cut. I don't think the cut we had was the same as the forum cut. The original cookies we had was just small, 4-inch node spacing. Got it from Nick from Runts, actually sold it to my friend Paulie through my boy that you guys have probably met that was here. He's one of the guys who used to roll joints for me. But yeah, he worked for Nick, and then that was the connection. I didn't know this till years later that's how we got the cookie cut, but it was like literally my boy Paulie. And then our crew had it, and we all exploited that to the fullest, even though it got like a half pound of light.
I remember calling home and like hearing about Girl Scout and how it was taken over, like all, everybody at the stores and everybody was asking for it and everybody wanted to grow it.
Yeah.
I just assumed that the Granddaddy was still around, I guess, and was still selling.
It didn't even occur to me that,
hey, this is not selling anymore and it's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never even thought about that. Like, I just assumed that it was in the lineup with everything else.
Well, and you missed a lot of cool stuff. Like when green weed became not cool anymore. Like you got green weed, and it's like they only want purple, and it's like what?
Right.
Gelatos were the thing, right? And gelatos and runts dominated, and you had green weed. They didn't care what the fuck it was.
No,
they didn't want anything to do with it. Like,
right.
And that was, I guess that was 2020 even. Like that was like 2019.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's sad how like the buying trends can affect like what we keep and what we grow so much. Right. Because I don't think other markets do that. Like, if there's like some really fire strain of grapes, that makes a really good wine. And even if it falls out of favor, it doesn't just disappear on like the entire industry like that.
Well, but the wine industry's been around so much longer. I guarantee you there's been.
Has it really though? Has it really?
Well, as an industry, as a legal industry. Right. I think as an industry where they had a lot of nomenclature around, around the plant, like as far as around grapes, I think that they had established cultivars and varieties that we had land races mostly. And then we didn't really start getting into breeding cannabis, modern day cannabis as we know it until like the 60s and 70s. They had probably done breeding in local areas to create the land races that they had. They were bred for a purpose. There was human interaction. They bred them for hash production or they bred them for flour. But that's much different than an organized, like how wine was, where they were making, there was chateaus making wine 300 years ago.
Right.
So I think it's a little bit different. And I'm sure a lot of stuff has fallen off, but like, it's funny. We're still in the infancy of all this stuff, and where it really goes is to be seen. And I'm excited in some regards. I'm scared in other regards, with science and AI and all this stuff and patents. It's like people trying to take over this industry. That stuff scares me a little bit. The potential for that is what's scary. I mean, obviously you can't, it's things that aren't in your control. It's like, you shouldn't be scared of things that aren't in your control. You can't do anything about it, but GDP, we'll see.
We'll see, man.
We'll see, man.
I hope, I pray. I would love to see
I'm
the old girl again, man.
Yeah.
I would.
Well, and
call it
GDP
retro.
extract. I don't remember smoking much GDP. Maybe scissor hash. We smoked GDP right off the scissors.
For sure.
But yeah, I'm sure GDP pens that taste like GDP that give you that effect.
Profit GDP pen. Oh my God.
Yeah,
I'd have that thing in my pocket all day.
literally.
Yeah. But
It's
you know,
dessert.
like the time that this had come out to, like, was a different time, and like, we would, when it would hit the dispensary, it didn't matter if it was 1 pound or 6 pounds or 10 pounds, it would fly off the shelf. Fly off the shelf. Even before I opened the dispensary, and like I said, the couple Bay Area dispensaries that used to have it every now and again, if you didn't show up, like as soon as you heard that it was there, it was gone by the time you got there. And I don't know if I've ever seen anything like that again post like GDP. And like, again, I missed a huge swath of the industry and of sales and how everything goes. But for the last 3 years, I've been like, up to my chin in retail and sales and all that stuff. And I see what strains do. And I see, like, the hype in the toad venom, and I see the hype that's created even at the cultivation level with it. But I said the story on your podcast that one time. We literally broke a pound out that I had in a reserve in the back of a safe that I didn't even know where it was at. Ended up finding it after we had been out of GDP for maybe a day or two. And I broke it out. I put it on a 1/8 limit, which is 128 eighths in a whole pound.
Yeah.
And the thing went in 35 minutes. 35 minutes.
Oh.
And the only reason it took 35 minutes was because that's how long the line took to get through. You know what I'm saying? It would have sold faster.
Yeah.
But like, we only had 4 stations at the dispensary. It was set up kind of like a bank situation where we had a snake line and then, 4 sales stations. And it literally went in 35 minutes. And when I saw like that effect and and how people responded, and the situation, like I said earlier, where people would come in, and if it wasn't there, they would just not buy weed.
Right.
Not like, oh, well, I'll buy something to hold me over. They would not buy weed.
Right.
Like, I've never seen anything like that before.
It was that good back then, though.
It was that good.
It was.
But I got a question for you. So weighing out eighths from pounds.
Right.
Have you ever got 128
No,
eighths out of
I
that?
was stunned right there. I was super stunned
But
right there.
that's the right number, right?
Right.
Like mathematically, that's the right number.
Right.
I have never got close to that. It's always at least too short.
I mean, sometimes more than that, and then you would have to put some shake in the last few of them, for sure. And those would be the last ones that sold. But like, it would fly so much off the shelf that, like, if you had 128th or 1280, it was gone.
Yeah. To Luke's point, like, could we even recreate that hype?
Yeah.
I don't know. That demand.
I don't know either. I
wouldn't say.
know-
I was going to say, I don't
Not
even think it was hype. I think it
the
was
demand.
demand.
It was
because
just the demand, not the hype.
There was real substance behind what they wanted.
Yeah.
It was that different from everything
Exactly.
else.
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
that different than everything on the board.
But now it would need the hype, unfortunately, to get it up to that point to get the demand. Right.
I mean, anything has to be marketed now.
Yeah, you'd have to have all the tastemakers, stamp it. So then the kids are like, "Oh, well, y'all got. I need the GDP. I need
all
that."
the critics.
All the critics. You got to make
All
the critics
critics.
happy. It's really interesting, though. I mean, I'm bringing this back for me, though. At the end of the day, like, even if this never takes off, the fact that I get to smoke GDP, something I've been looking for that I thought was gone, that sits well with me, even if it never takes off.
No, and I think and I think that's because that's part of your genetic fabric of who you are too, and that's part of Luke's and mine as well.
Yeah,
it's part of our legacy,
right? It's definitely part of our legacy. So for me, GDP got to be represented on one of the culture brands somewhere.
Yeah.
Even whether it's plants over pills.
I mean, it's
or
only right
flower.
that it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
It
I'm
would
making
be only right
crosses
that
with
it
it. So maybe it evolves into these crosses, right? Maybe this never takes off, but maybe it wasn't meant to. Maybe it was meant to come to me so that I could make crosses with it and I could share crosses with guys like yourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And we can take it to this next level and turn it to whatever it was supposed to be, moving the plant forward.
Sure.
So it's really interesting because we're like just now getting it back. We're looking at it. I feel very confident with the nose, and I feel very confident with my breeding and being able to put it to other things that I have to really complement it, going in some different directions. And first thing I'm doing with it, which is the most crazy thing, out of all the projects I had in my head, I'm like, okay, the first thing I'm crossing GDP to is a long flowering sativa. And I may back cross this a couple times to get it super stable so that I get more of a F1 expression that's right in the middle of the two. Because this is as far indica,
Right.
in a lot of ways, this is as far indica as you can get.
Sure.
Yeah.
Short flowering, stubby, doesn't want to grow, pain in the ass, puts these big bulbous buds out. And it's a 3-foot tall plant with something that could get 10 or 12 feet tall. That's equatorial. That's a 14 weeker. Let's put them in the middle. Let's cross this and see what we get and go pheno hunt those, because maybe that's what we're looking for, a Malawi or a Durban or a friggin' African genetics that are super strong. And maybe we're going to come back to cookies. We get
You'll be back at Girl
Durban
Scout
times
cookies.
GDP, and all of a sudden we're back to Girl Scout cookies. You never know, but like that's what excites me with the potential with something like this. Is it's something different that I don't have in all the colors of cannabis that I have in my seed collection, in my library, with everything. This isn't something that I have. I have a lot of stuff that's maybe similar in some regard, but it's not that. So
I'm just excited about the granddaddy of them all
yeah,
coming back.
I know.
Excited.
I do think like a lot of these older genetics too that have been kept around for so long.
Yeah.
I do think that some of them but I think it would be beneficial for some of them to go through tissue culture. And when you go through tissue culture, you have to understand that like you're going to the pet cemetery now. It might not come back like the way it was when it was alive before. So, you know, you got to understand that too.
Epigenetics, right? So if we talk about epigenetics, it's basically code that's laid on the DNA. It doesn't change the DNA in regards to, but like, it can change it for multiple generations. If you stress the plant out, that stressor could cause the plant to express differently. And so over time, you take something like the OG Kush that was with Josh D that came from Florida, and we've got the Ghost, and then we've got the
Shout
RBK.
out to, Josh and Ghost too. I just ran into them down south.
Yeah, I mean, and then there's the headband
Good
version,
dudes,
but
man.
all these things went through different paths, and they all like getting them back 20 some odd years later, about maybe 30 years later for some guys, but like literally in somewhere in that wheelhouse where it's like 20 to 30 years, they can express differently, right? And so some of them have
And
slightly different. They do. The Ghost and the Josh D. I mean, I think we got to do some more fingerprinting to verify all the cuts that we have, which ones are which. And the rename game is strong in this industry.
For sure.
But all of these OG cuts that we have express slightly differently. The RBK is a little bit different than the Josh D that we have, and so is the Mad Dog. We've got all these.
And the
different
connected
cuts.
version is different from all of those two.
Right.
Yeah.
They grow some fire though. That OG for
they
sure.
got an OG cut that's Fuego, but it's not the same one as Josh has. It's different.
No, and then all the OG I see now is like muted OG.
Right.
So I hope that doesn't happen with the GDP. People get excited and they want to go the muted version of it, and it's
that's that's all I've been. The only thing that I've seen up to this point has been a muted version where it might have some remnants of it, but that's it.
You weren't at the High Supply show.
No.
Yeah, you missed it. I have OG in my bag. Maybe I need to get that out right now to show you good OG, because I was just down in LA. I got to experience lots of OG, headband. The sour, I didn't like the sour that I saw, but all the OGs were on point, and there was lots of them. Everybody loves OG.
LA loves the OGs.
They always have.
And
That's
shout out to LA for just keeping that alive and keeping that relevant and keeping it going, because I feel like there could have easily been a time where the OGs phased out. And they didn't. The LA boys kept them going.
They kept it relevant for sure.
Going.
They did.
Yeah, I mean, That was life down there. OG was life for a lot of the guys. That's all there was guys I know, that's all they would smoke. That's all they would grow.
But to this day, there's still some guys that run into that's all they smoke. Now, I do think some of them are stunting, like, that's just how they want to rep their shit.
Right.
But, I mean, OG is great, man. I still, if I had the choice, like, I guess, like we could say like how JP does the Desert Island strain or whatever, shout out to my bro at Good Pizza, but Granddaddy would be my old school and Desert Island.
Right.
Like if it was the real one, I would pick it over OG every time. And I think that's hard for a lot of those guys to understand, but I don't think, especially down in LA and down south, a lot of them guys never really got to experience the real Granddaddy. And when we did have the Granddaddy and it did go down south, we put like 2,000 tax on the pound. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna keep it real. We really did. We put it was 6 bands, there's 5,600 and shit down there when we would bring the Granddaddy pound down there.
So then they would just put on for OG and be like, nah, we fucking with OG because this is native to us, and the Granddaddy is native to y'all. But
oh yeah, see, you can see right on that structure right there.
Yeah, that's toad venom.
Right.
I want to start with that, but it does have a similar structure too.
That has a super similar
toad. Was
structure.
that toad? That was the toad, yeah.
No, that was acai times peanut butter something.
Okay.
From peanut butter and jelly, PB&J.
Okay.
From Grower for Life. That's his small batch. Dude, the flowers. That's got good flavors, strong.
Yeah. This is the toad.
That's the toad right there. That's the toad from Craft Farmer.
You get that piney on it.
Yeah.
On the tail end, huh?
We've got Hollywood Pure Kush.
Okay. Did you get this when you were in LA?
I did. Got a small batch grower friend down there. He's one of our new ambassadors, doing amazing work, man. He's got 11 lights and he's putting out some heat. So that's his HPK really Hollywood Pure Kush.
Okay.
And that stuff smokes just like it smells.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan. And that's one of those ones, it's not piney, right? Like
it's not piney.
It's not piney. It's got a lot of earth to it. It has like
definitely
that kush.
Earthy.
Yeah. It's got
cushy earthy.
Cushy earthy. So,
I've never liked that term personally.
What, kush?
Earthy.
Earthy.
I've never liked earthy. Like I know this, I get it why we say it. But it's just like to me, like for my marketing brain, when people say earthy, it goes
Wow, yeah. So for me, it's funny because coming from an OG smoker, like earthy is a good thing. I think that's when I think of earthy, I smell that. That's the earthiness in there.
That's earthy.
It's sticky, bro. That's sticky.
That is sticky. It's hard to find sticky weed these days. Bring back the sticky weed.
There's some headband right there. And so that's the Loompas headband, which is a sour OG cross.
Okay.
And I think it's really interesting. That's another one I love smoking. It's got a little pine in there. It has a little more pine than the HPK.
Definitely got a lot more pine than the HPK.
Yeah. It's got a little nose burn to it. I think the quality, that's really good.
Push.
And then we got the Josh here. Now this Josh, he said was pulled 2 weeks early. Again, there's not a lot of pine there, but there is lots of earth. Yeah, I'm into it.
Yeah, I still smell it. Yeah, still.
A little bit of pine.
Yeah.
And he said they could have gone another 2 weeks. I think
2 weeks.
Another 2 weeks on that one. He likes growing his flower a little bit longer. And the funny thing is, I'm not going to argue with someone that shows me flower that everybody else grows, and he's grown it to another level. Like literally, candy drips that I have right here.
Mm-hmm.
He took this 70 days. Not Josh. No.
Okay.
One of my guys in LA.
Okay.
We're going to put his Instagram handle on the screen right now so people can go check his Instagram out. But like literally,
the candy drips.
Bro. I have not ever seen candy drips on that level.
Listen, the candy drips, we saw the candy drips earlier. Right. The candy drips, I ain't gonna lie. I don't know who the man Instagram is, but bro, tap in so we can work. Because the candy drips is the one for sure.
Well, and he also grew all of these right here, and I think he did a great job as far as a small batch grower, but the terps, so he took this 70 days. None of my friends
This
would
is
take
70
it.
days right
Yeah, all my other friends pull at 63. Literally all of them. He's the first person, and one of my friends is like 56 to 63 is where he likes it. Sometimes he'll go as early as 56.
Okay.
He likes some real candy. 70 days, the smoke is stronger too.
Way stronger.
It gets you
For sure.
way more high.
Yeah.
Right? Usually the taste is sacrificed though.
You usually sacrifice the taste. Not on this. This is on point. Like literally down to the roach. It tastes a lot like grape gas. It's it's Z. This one is Z Runts grape gas. One of the ones I made last year. We got the bluefin drips. We got the violet drips. We got the candy drips. We got a couple more drips coming out. We haven't named the number 13 yet, but that's like the one that I really liked in the beginning and everyone else kind of hated on. And then I gave my buddy one cut of it over at SF Canna. And he's like, oh, you've been holding out on me the whole time. But it's like they can express differently depending on who's growing them.
Yeah, for sure.
And when I grew it, it looked a little like all the buds were really big. And so that looked undesirable because it was all like extra AA buds.
Like big bud to you.
Literally. And so it didn't look that great. But when Zach just grew it this last time, he's like telling me that he thinks I'm holding out on him because he's like, this is the one. This is better than the 20. This is better than the fucking, the other one. And it's better than the fucking candy. And so you just never know with stuff. That's why it's good to hold on and grow stuff out multiple times.
Yeah.
And not to just get rid of the stuff off the first run.
Right. And like it's the same thing with sun grown. Like I know it doesn't make sense for it to express differently from my house in Modesto to your warehouse down in LA, but with different environments, different growers, different feedings, it can be totally different, which is, I know, contrary to what people think.
For sure.
What you got there? You looked happy right now, man.
I am. I forgot this was in here. This is great. So what we smoked was the candy drips right there, I believe. And I think this is the acai peanut butter and jelly, 128 and eighth.
128 and eighth?
Oh, sorry, a quarter.
Quarter.
Even that.
That's still high. That's back in the day pricing. 68 all the way up.
A quarter.
It was 240 a half. I remember them days.
Cat piss numbers. That was cat piss. Cat piss was 68 straight up.
Yeah.
It didn't matter where you buy a pound, it's $60 an eighth straight up.
Literally,
I never got breaks on cat piss ever.
And you were lucky to get 3.5.
But I would buy as much as I could.
My guy would give me 3 grams and
they would only
say
sell
that's
us,
what it is.
Yeah, well, like literally, they would only sell us so much. So we would buy whatever we could. We would find out how much we could buy, and we'd buy all of it, right? Whether it was a half a pound, a quarter pound, a whole pound, it didn't matter because it was so good. And everybody wanted it. All our friends wanted it. So it's not like, and I don't think we made anything off it. We just got it so we could smoke and our friends could smoke.
Yeah.
Never got any breaks.
Yeah, we had a really good cat piss cut in Modesto called Special K. My bro Thunder used to grow it. Man, that shit, you smoke that in a room. 3 hours later, you come in and still know you smoked it in the room.
It still smells like piss.
Still smells like piss. It would not go away.
Yeah, I'm into it. I miss that more than anything. In the, there's skunk weed. I think that was cool. I remember skunk back in the day.
Cat piss was different than skunk.
It was totally different, but it was skunky.
For sure.
But it was ammonia skunk. It was like skunky, like kind of nostril burning ammonia skunk is what the cat piss that I remember. And it was a sativa. It wasn't the indica like a lot of guys have today. I think there was multiples. It's an aroma, so it could mean multiple things.
When I told my daughter that that was the name of the strain and that's what it used to smell like, she thought I was crazy. She was like, "Why the hell would anybody want to smoke that?" I was like, I guess you just had to be there on that shit.
And you really did. But there was also people I remember that didn't like the smell of it. They're like, "That's why would you smoke that? It's disgusting."
Ours grew really like sparse too, man. It didn't like the buds didn't fill out on our cat piss special case or cuts that we had.
So ours was just shreds in a bag. A lot of times it would just be bracts, like the little fingers, kind of like pearls, like Dave from Budgelera.
Yeah.
He's gonna have roll pros pearl joints in the near future. He's about to do some.
Okay, nice. Yeah. That would actually be a good way to use that.
Yeah, and it's so strong. It's like one joint will get you there. It'll get a whole room of people.
That shit looks so crazy when it grows.
Yeah, it does.
That shit looks wild.
You gotta try this.
Which one is this? This is the candy drips?
That's acai times peanut butter and
This
jelly.
is the acai. That was the candy.
I can see the ring on it already from here. Got a nice resin ring on it.
Yep. I roll a lot of joints.
Is that a hand rolled?
That's a hand roll right there.
Nice. Yeah. Okay. James Loud hand roll.
Hand roll.
Are you still? Is that still your gig? You still got
I'm
that
still
going?
doing hand rolls. Yeah, I got a couple of hand roll jobs.
Okay.
Like I feel like a sushi chef.
Hand roll jobs.
Yeah, hand roll jobs. Not to be confused with hand jobs.
Pause.
We got hand. Right. Couple thousand a month. You know, it's like $750. It adds up.
Right. Anything you can do to make a buck.
Whatever. It's a hard economy, dude. Like. But yeah, it's funny. And it's funny how much better you get at rolling joints when you roll a lot of joints all the time. I mean, it's the difference. You could tell the real smokers that smoke a lot by the joints they roll. I mean, if you're rolling like 300-400 joints a month, or I'm rolling over 1,000.
This is the candy drips?
I think, yeah, so far I like that one.
Like the candy drips.
Yeah, that one's good. I think you might.
A lot of flavor.
Yeah, that one's good, man. Got a good flavor to it. Good smoke too. Smooth.
It's really interesting. So tell me about some of the strains you guys got going on right now.
So at Profit, we got the 3 new strains that we just dropped are Cherry Paloma, which is a cherry pie whole fruits cross.
Yeah.
Which is super fruity. Like I really like it. It's one of those weeds that you can smoke all day, kind of like a Skittles like situation.
Right.
It's still strong. It's still like gets you super lit, but it's not like a couch lock type of high.
Mm-hmm.
Then we got a OG cut that we're really super excited about. We're calling it Central Valley OG. And it's it has no fruit, no candy or anything to it. It's just a gas. And I'm really excited about the gases bringing them back. I guess just because of how saturated the market has been over the last couple of years with the candies and gelatos and runs and stuff. Again, which they're great strains. It's a testament to how good those strains have been because they dominated the market like that.
Right.
But as real smokers, I think real smokers and real connoisseurs love variety. And, I feel like the gases are always good pivots. Them boys down in LA have been on them for, since the 90s and have kept them alive and kept them in the market and kept them in the media to where I feel like the more and more that we can perfect some and bring back some of these original Kushes and original OGs and, just those real strong, piney, gassy strains, I think that's good for the market. So we're like super excited about it. And then our last one, you'll like this one because it's kind of a play on the drips is Dubai Drip.
Nice.
Yeah, and that's right in the heart of the market. It's just a real sweet candy, dark purple, checking all the bag appeal boxes and stuff like that. I'm a person that will pivot off of the candies pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But that one has had longevity with us.
Nice. So how about you? What do you guys got on the lineup?
What I'm most excited about is finally, I don't know if we touched on it. I can't remember if we touched on it last time, but this gooey butter brand.
Yeah.
We chased one that we released super small. We released it at one dispensary. It was a super small batch. I have another little small batch coming of it, but it's the gooey grapes, and that's a gooey butter crossed to a grape gas.
Yeah.
So you're really getting kind of that sweet, gassy kind of taste to it. And that was a project, and when I mentioned Lance before that, goes back to Missouri 4 years ago. Gooey butter cake is super popular dessert there, and that's where that kind of came from. But
Nice.
super excited about the gooey grapes. We dropped it at one dispensary. They sold out in 2 days.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
And really would like to ramp that up. And then another one is one that we talked about down at not Network Show. High Supply, the one we were just at last week, is this Cherry Jubilee, and that was shout out Cadre Verde in Sacramento.
That goes some fire.
We did the deal. Casey does the damn thing, man, and he was hunting something for us, and we settled on his Cherry Jubilee, and it's special from color, like Luke said, hits all the check boxes, the bag appeal. For what people are looking for to taste, performance, it's all there. So just kind of excited about those two. And then everything else, I always try to stay with the same cultivators and source all the same heat just so that, everything that goes into any of the Kulture brands is reliable.
Nice.
Yeah, the grape grass crosses, I like those, man. It's a great genetic to cross with. I
It's
think
a good breeder.
yeah,
for
it
sure.
expresses nice.
Mm-hmm.
I do like those.
There's a
I was
couple different
surprised, man.
females.
One of my buddies in SAC grew it, ended up just with a 10-pound batch. And I'm like, cannot get enough. And
That's
he's
my
like,
sweet spot though. I like when our batches hit between like 8 and 12 pounds, and because we really can focus in on them then.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, that's our little sweet spot. And they sell out fast. You know,
sure.
when you have like an 8 to 10 pound batch, it if it's the right cultivar, where you have the right market, you have the right marketing, it literally is it's gone in a flash.
Yeah.
Right.
And you can continue to then turn over fresh drops for people.
New shit, keep it fresh, keep it original.
Yeah.
Right.
What people like, man. We made the mistake of when we first launched, like all my bros that were growing when I first got out, like stressed to me about, you have to have your own exclusive genetics. You have to have your own exclusive genetics. And so that's what we did originally with Profit. We made 3 of our own exclusive genetics, launched them. They were great. They had a great splash, a great reorder. But then like I was under the impression that like, I'm just going to run these. They're doing great. Why would I change them? And then I just saw the sales kind of just start teetering down. And I've had to understand that I had to be back, like tap back into myself. Real smokers like variety.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how good your strain is. Eventually, I don't want to smoke the same strain or same genetics for 4 months straight or 3 months straight. I want something different, even though you can grow it great.
Yeah.
And I may pivot back to it. And so what we decided to do then was like, hey, we have to handle this like we would back in the day, like a real spot where people are switching up genetics, switching up strains, consistently, to where the consumer now goes, okay, I trust James or I trust Jason on their brand 100%. So as they drop these new strains, I'll just keep buying them because they haven't let me down one time.
Right. And that's the beauty of our market in California, is you can go top to bottom and you can source flower and work with different people and work on, special projects. And I think that's what the consumer attention span is, very short.
Super short.
So as long as you can and it comes down to network. Luke got a big network. James, your network's probably bigger than both of ours, but it comes down to that network. And can you work with quality people that are going to support you in delivering quality product to your consumer base consistently? Yeah, exactly.
I think that's the most important part,
and that's the hard part,
right? It is. It's really hard at scale. It's really hard to be a cultivator. I'm glad I'm not the cultivator.
My cultivation days were so stressful.
And
it's just because I want the best. You want the best, though.
I enjoy small amounts, but doing it at scale and then consistently doing it. I feel like everybody has their role, and I love the breeding and the genetics and the trying to find new stuff. But in cultivate, you're a different breed as a cultivator. If you're on the top level, you're just a different breed of person, right? And I feel like I could probably do it if I wanted to. I've done it before. I've done a lot of cultivation in my life, especially even in the last 8 years. I've done quite a bit, but I enjoy more so the genetics, right? And so everybody has their place, bless you. And it's really interesting. And compared to 25 years ago, when you kind of had to do everything, right? Even 15 years ago, you were a carpenter, you were an electrician a lot of times.
All those
you
things.
would figure out how to repair your own stuff because you didn't want people knowing where your grow was. Right. Completely different world. So there is some beauty to this. We can become specialists, right? Instead of generalists where we had to do everything, now we can specialize and really focus, whether it's sales and marketing, and whether it's genetics, for you guys running brands and sales and marketing, that's and I also kind of enjoy that stuff, but I'm not nearly as good as other people at doing those kind of things. And beauty is I could probably just stay here and then align with the right people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure.
So,
no, that's what it's about. I'm not going to go try to teach Peyton Manning how to throw a football.
No.
Right?
Exactly.
If I want a football thrown, I'll just go grab Peyton Manning and go, let's go run.
Right.
Totally. And I feel like it's the same way in weed. We have to find what people do good and then utilize that. We spoke earlier about it. a lot of people at the cultivation level just suck at marketing because they're great growers and they focus in on growing and they're great farmers and they can produce great products. But that doesn't necessarily always mean to great marketers. Right. And you know, the sooner I feel like people recognize their weaknesses and strengths in this industry, that you can really start flourishing. You know, when I know like, hey, I suck at marketing, so I'm going to have James and Jason go out there and push my shit. Or if, you know, I'm really good at marketing, but I can't grow for shit. Well, then, you know, I'll go tap one of my bros who I know is a monster and let him let people do what they do best and support them. And you'll have a really good product at the end.
Yeah, I think John Mayer recently was talking about how much of your full potential do you want to invest in what you do? Because of partying, because of lifestyle, do you want to put 100% in? Do you want to be that guy who's 100%? Do you want to be the guy that's 60 because he loves his social life with his partying? And then you could look at that 100%, and the second you're doing all these different things, that takes away from the 100% for that one thing. Right. So it's funny how like talent can take you so far. Work ethic and working hard can take you even further. The combination of the two is where the magic happens a lot of times.
Well, you have to have a balance too, though, because have you guys ever heard of the key man problem?
Mm-mm.
It's okay. So it's when a person in the business does so many roles in the business that if you pull that person out of the business, the business would actually fold up or wouldn't be successful.
You don't want to be that guy in your company.
You never want to be that. You never want to have that in your business. It almost makes your business unsellable.
Sure.
Because why would somebody buy it if the minute you're gone out of it, the whole business collapses?
Dies,
or the whole
car accident, gets sick.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not a good thing to do. So you really have to I struggle with that tremendously of like wanting to be so hands-on with everything and know every process of the business that a lot of times I'm so focused inward on profit that I'm not looking outward at like expansion and growing the business and doing the things that I'm supposed to do for the rest of the team out there as a leader of the business. Right.
Yeah.
So, you know, you got to strike that chord. It has to be a very balanced strike because it's real easy to get caught up in the sense of I'm going to do the deliveries, I'm going to do the packaging, I'm going to do the sourcing, I'm going to do the marketing, I'm going to do
all the joints.
I'll roll all the joints, I'll do all this, and then before you know it, like all your time is doing that, and then you don't have the time to really do what you're really, really good at, right? You're good at growing the business, creating, marketing, making these things grow, making these things like scale, going to other states, going to other countries. You know, if you're so bogged down in rolling, like physically rolling joints, you can't do those things.
And I'll tell you this, for me, that's been my issue, is being head over water in the business.
Right.
I can't. So what it's done is it's been a snowball effect because it's prevented me from hitting certain deadlines in other markets or taking advantage of different market opportunities because I've just been so, you know, buried here on the day-to-day with California. And that comes down to, again, $600 and $800 pounds a week. So it's, you know, it becomes very difficult. At least, you know, I'm a guy that's, you know, not taking a dollar. I didn't take a dollar. So it's hard. And it's like what is it called? Like the founder syndrome or something. I got a bad case of it right now.
I got that too. I do too. I mean, I think part of it is that industry isn't doing that well. The economy is not doing that well. And we love what we're doing. We wouldn't be doing anything else. It's also frustrating because there's nothing we can do about it but suck it up and grind it out. And eventually we'll be past this. I guarantee you. It's just, I think the three of us all have that kind of mentality. Like, fuck it.
The common factor is it's the legacy. So if you're a legacy operator and have come from those days, these things are going to be easier to you because we've went through droughts. We've went through periods where there's surpluses. We went through times where you couldn't get any weed at all. And you had to go out of town to get weed. Like all of those things we're so used to doing, like going through the cycle of the plant because it's cyclical, right? The plant goes like this, the money goes like this, the economy goes like this, the supply and demand go like that. So we're so used to riding that wave that we know, like, we just grind this out, right? Yeah. This is what we do. We are the people who grind this out. We're the definition of the people who grind this out as legacy operators.
True.
So it's like, hey, why all these big corporations, I think, and that's our strength, right? Like that's the reason why a lot of these legacy brands will still be around, even when this corporate takeover happens and all these big, huge buyouts happen. And you see these, corporate America having a big swath of the market. You'll see legacy brands and legacy operators still around because of those things, because of the grit, because of how they fight and won't give up, and understand that the market fluctuates like that. Like we go through these things, we've went through them for multiple years through our whole life, and we're going to continue to.
It's the whether it's the delusion or the smarts, right?
Right. It might
That's
be.
just built in us, I think, from Luke's perspective too. And I'm going to speak for him because I already know we talked about this before, but it's what gave us the necessary tools to open dispensaries and stand up for ourselves and fight the federal government is what keeps us in this shit today.
Right.
It ain't for everybody.
No.
And so
getting kicked in the nuts every morning isn't
it's
for
not for everybody,
Definitely
you
not.
know?
Sure.
And so it's like I said, I don't know if we're crazy or if in the end we'll be sitting on the front porch in the rocking
I
chairs
honestly
together.
think crazy is probably a good assessment, but I think all great entrepreneurs
You have to be.
are a little bit.
Yeah.
You have to be a little bit
You have to.
crazy
Yeah.
to survive past the initial phase that most businesses go through to be successful. And some businesses, yeah, they skyrocket. They're instantly overnight. They're a success. They're making money. They're crushing. But in our industry, you have to suck it up and tough it out and go through crazy phases of nothing
Mhm.
to be a successful company. And everybody's opinion of success is different too.
For sure.
Right.
But to break even to me right now, breaking even
Is a success, for
right?
sure.
Like,
I know.
I think-
If you can
You
just,
know?
If you're paying the bills,
if
you're
you're paying the
you're
bills,
paying the
and as a
bills-
founder, if you can just buy dinner for your family, I think
Right.
it's a W for
for
Yeah.
me.
sure. No, right now is, and that's really what it is. It's like, wins look different at different times, right?
Yeah.
And right now, I do agree with you. I think like winning right now is just fighting and being here
Mhm.
yeah.
and like showing
Having a
up
seat at the table.
right, having
right
a seat
now.
at the table, showing up at these events, showing up at demos, showing up at dispensaries, saying, yo, I'm still here. I'm fighting. You know what I'm saying? I might not be making $1 million. And it's crazy that like it takes, and I want the people at home to understand this. It takes 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to make this brand break even.
Yeah.
Break even, not be successful, not roll in millions and millions of dollars, 24/7 to break even.
Yeah.
And you have to understand and be cool with that. You have to be okay with that. And to understand that may go like that for months or years even.
Yeah.
And the thing that's added into like all of our grit is like, you truly do have to love this shit.
Yeah.
You have to love this plant. You have to love what it does. You have to love selling it. You have to love giving it to people. You have to love all of those things that come along with it to even be here and say like, hey, I'm ready to fight this thing out even in these tough times. And when these storms happen, I'll
Passion.
bunker down. Yeah.
It's
all
like
passion.
it's funny because I always say I didn't choose cannabis. Cannabis chose me.
Straight up.
Yeah.
And you got to be like a child of the plant. Like it got to really be in you.
Yep.
And if it ain't in you, you would already given up by now. You wouldn't be,
Or
you'd
you're on your
be
way
out.
out.
Yeah.
Well,
Or you're on the way out.
most of my friends that I lost a lot of friends over the last 10 years in this industry because either they were growing mids and couldn't grow better flower, or they lost money and they couldn't afford their grows because that's happened, or they just got priced out because they were always, cheap, and then it got cheaper, and then it cost them $600 to make a pound. Now all of a sudden the pounds are $600. Can't make any money. So it's interesting because even genetics was way more profitable 15 years ago.
Right.
Way more profitable. And the seed, there wasn't as many brands, so the market share was bigger for all the brands, and we've kind of experienced all this with cannabis brands in California, especially too, but like seed brands, there was a handful of American genetics companies 15 years ago. I'm lucky to be one of them. But there was literally handfuls, handfuls of breeders. Now there's thousands of seed companies.
For sure.
So different world.
Um,
Well, I guess we always ask a question on my show. So if you had one piece of advice For young bud tenders that want to know about legacy strains, what would that one piece of advice be? Actually, not even about legacy strains. One piece of advice for bud tenders that they could use to improve their lives.
Learn how you have that job. Learn the reason that you get to stand in a dispensary and sell legal cannabis. There's a whole history of sacrifice and activism and people who went to jail and people who put their lives and their families on the line so that you can come to work every day and not have to worry that you're going to get arrested when you're leaving that building.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I would tell them to learn.
Wow.
Solid. What do you got?
I'm a piggyback Luke because I do demos all the time. Been here to anybody, like all these stores tell you, I do my own demos. It doesn't feel good as somebody who sacrificed so much, myself along with every other prisoner of the plant that exists, when younger folks come in and don't hold a place of respect and homage for that. Not just me, but the gratitude that they should have to be standing in a dispensary selling weed with no threat of anything is, it's something that should hold a certain level of, I think, respect and, just open-mindedness to the reason that they're able to do what they do.
Nice. Very well said. So thank you guys for coming on the show today. It's been a blast. I think we talked about some really cool stuff. And so thank you guys very much.
Thanks for having us, man.
Yeah, thanks for having us, man. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you to our sponsors. Thank you guys very much for your support. Thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe down below.